Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm an event coordinator, and I'm the only person in my family who can book those big family trips like this one. But Christmas morning that year changed everything I thought I knew about family. I woke up at 6 a.m. on Christmas Day, expecting the usual chaos. You know how it is. Kids running around, adults arguing over who forgot to buy batteries for the toys, that beautiful mess that makes Christmas feel like home. Instead, I woke up to complete silence. Not the peaceful kind of silence that makes you smile and think, finally, a quiet moment. This was the kind of silence that makes your stomach drop because something is very, very wrong. I walked downstairs, calling out, "Merry Christmas," to absolutely no one. The living room was empty. The kitchen was spotless. No coffee brewing, no breakfast dishes, no signs of life anywhere. I checked the driveway through the window, and that's when it hit me like a punch to the gut. All 4 cars were gone. Mom's silver Honda, Dad's pickup truck, my brother Mike's SUV, and even my sister Lisa's beat-up Civic that barely runs but somehow always makes it to family events. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my phone, scrolling through my messages to see if I missed something. Maybe they went to pick up Grandma early? Maybe there was a last-minute change of plans. That's when I saw it, a notification I'll never forget. You have been added to Christmas Cabin Trip 2024. I opened the group chat, and my world just stopped. 17 people. 17 family members in a chat that had been active since December 22nd. 3 days of messages about packing lists, driving schedules, who's bringing what food, excitement about the hot tub, jokes about Uncle Dave's snoring. 3 days of my entire family planning and coordinating a Christmas trip that I apparently wasn't invited to. The most recent messages made me feel sick. "Just loaded the last car," from my brother. "See everyone at the cabin in 6 hours," from my cousin Jenny. "This is going to be the best Christmas ever," from my mom, posted 20 minutes ago. While I was still sleeping in my bed, thinking I'd wake up to family breakfast, they were already on the road to our family Christmas celebration. Without me. But here's the thing that made it so much worse. As I scrolled through 3 days of planning messages, I realized something that made my blood run cold. I recognized the cabin they were talking about, the luxury mountain retreat with the chef service and the private hot tub and the 8 bedrooms. I recognized it because I'm the one who booked it. I'm the one who paid for it. $15,500 on my credit card for a Christmas family vacation that I wasn't even invited to attend. Have you ever felt like the world just tilted sideways? Like everything you thought you knew about your life was suddenly a lie? That's exactly how I felt sitting in my empty house on Christmas morning, staring at a group chat full of my family members celebrating a trip I paid for while deliberately leaving me behind. I tried calling my mom first, straight to voicemail. "Hi, you've reached Carol. I'm probably busy making memories with my family." Even her voicemail felt like a slap in the face. I called Dad, Mike, Lisa, my Aunt Karen. Every single call went to voicemail. They were all there, all together, and they were all ignoring me. Finally, my cousin Jenny picked up. I could hear laughter and Christmas music in the background, the sound of my entire family having the time of their lives. "Oh, hey, Sarah," she said, and I could hear the guilt in her voice immediately. "Merry Christmas." "Jenny," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "where is everyone?" There was this long pause. Oh no. "Sarah, we thought you were working today. You know how you always have those Christmas events to coordinate. We didn't want to bother you." I work as an event coordinator, which means I help other people plan their special occasions, weddings, corporate parties, anniversary celebrations. And yes, I often work holidays because that's when people want to celebrate. But here's what Jenny conveniently forgot to mention. I specifically took December 23rd through January 2nd off this year. I told the family about my vacation weeks ago. I mentioned it at Thanksgiving dinner. I posted about it on Facebook. I literally planned my entire year around being available for this family trip. "Jenny, I booked this trip. I paid for this trip. My credit card is being charged $15,000 for this cabin." Another long pause. I could hear someone in the background asking who was on the phone. "Oh," Jenny said finally. Well, maybe you can join us tomorrow? I mean, it's not too late, right? That's when I started to understand what was really happening here. This wasn't an oversight. This wasn't a miscommunication. This was deliberate. They planned this trip, they organized carpools, they coordinated schedules, and they specifically chose not to include me. But they had no problem letting me pay for it. 20 minutes later, I got added to the group chat with a message from my mom. Oops, sorry, sweetie. Technology mix-up. You can drive up tomorrow morning if you want. As if I was supposed to be grateful for the invitation to attend the vacation I paid for as a last-minute afterthought. The messages that followed made me feel like I was losing my mind. Don't be dramatic. It's just a simple mistake. From my sister Lisa. You know we love you, but you're always so busy with work. From my brother Mike. We can't just cancel now. Everyone's already here and the kids are so excited. From my dad. And my personal favorite from Uncle Dave. Come on, Sarah, you make good money. This isn't that big a deal for you. I sat there reading these messages, feeling like I was being gaslighted in real time. They were making me feel crazy for being upset that my entire family went on a Christmas vacation without me while spending my money to do it. They were acting like I was being unreasonable for expecting to be included in a family trip that I organized and paid for. But this wasn't the first time this had happened. As I sat there in my empty house, memories started flooding back. Last year's beach house rental, $12,000 on my credit card. The weekend before the trip, I came down with food poisoning. Instead of postponing or canceling, the family decided to go without me. You need to rest anyway, they said. We'll take lots of pictures for you. I spent a week recovering from food poisoning while my family enjoyed a beach vacation I paid for but couldn't attend. The year before that, the ski lodge in Colorado. $18,000 for a week-long family reunion. 2 days before we were supposed to leave, I got called into work for a genuine emergency. A wedding coordinator had quit last minute, and I had to take over a 300-person wedding. Don't worry about it, my mom said. Family will always be here. Take care of work. So I spent New Year's Eve managing someone else's celebration while my family hit the slopes on my dime. I started doing the math in my head, and I felt sick. 3 years of family trips. 3 years of me paying for everyone else's memories while being excluded from making my own. $45,000. That's what I'd spent on family bonding experiences that I wasn't allowed to bond during. I walked over to my laptop and opened my email, scrolling until I found the booking confirmation. Thank you, Sarah M., for your $15,500 booking. Christmas Cabin Retreat December 25th through January 2nd. 8 bedrooms. Full chef service, private hot tub, mountain views. My name on the reservation, my credit card on file, my confirmation number, my trip that I wasn't invited to attend. That's when my phone started buzzing with social media notifications. Instagram stories from the family trip were already going live. My brother Mike posted a video of the cabin with the caption, "Christmas Magic in the Mountains." My sister Lisa shared a photo of the massive dining table set for 17 people with the caption, "Grateful for family time." There was even a place setting where I should have been sitting, just empty. Uncle Dave posted a picture of himself in the hot tub with the caption, "Grateful Sarah made this possible." While I sat alone in my house, eating takeout Chinese food for Christmas dinner, my uncle was posting about how grateful he was for my financial contribution to his vacation. A vacation I wasn't allowed to attend. The comments on these posts made everything worse. Extended family members asking, "Where's Sarah?" and "She must be working again, poor thing." My own family responding with, "Oh, you know Sarah, always busy with work," and "She's such a hard worker. We didn't want to interrupt her schedule." They were spinning a narrative where I was too busy and too work-focused to attend family gatherings, when the truth was they deliberately excluded me while expecting me to pay for their fun. They were making me look like the family member who chose work over family, when I had specifically taken time off to be with them. I spent Christmas night scrolling through 3 years of family trip photos, realizing a pattern I'd been too trusting to see before. In every single photo, there was evidence of money I'd spent. The beach house balcony I paid for but never got to enjoy. The ski lodge fireplace where my family gathered with hot chocolate while I worked a wedding. the expensive restaurants where they celebrated with food I funded but never tasted. I opened my laptop and started creating a spreadsheet. Every family trip expense, every Venmo request I'd sent that got ignored, every "we'll pay you back" promise that turned into "you make good money, you don't need it back." The numbers were staggering: $45,500 over 3 years. And that wasn't counting the smaller expenses. The family birthday dinners I always ended up paying for, the graduation parties I funded, the emergency car repairs I covered for siblings who never paid me back. As I sat there looking at the evidence of 3 years of financial manipulation, my phone buzzed with a text from my cousin Jenny. "The hot tub is amazing! Thanks for booking this place. You would love it here. Would love it there." As if I had a choice about being there. As if I chose to miss my own family Christmas vacation that I paid for. I stared at my laptop screen, at the booking confirmation email that was still open. At the bottom of the email, there was a link I'd never noticed before. "Need to modify or cancel your booking? Click here for options." My cursor hovered over that link. The cabin rental company's cancellation policy was clearly stated: 24-hour notice required for cancellation, with a penalty fee. I checked the time. 11 p.m. on Christmas Day. The cabin check-in was at 3 p.m. on December 25th, which meant they'd already been there for 8 hours. But the cancellation window was still technically open. I sat there in my empty house, surrounded by the silence of being deliberately forgotten by the people who were supposed to love me most. And I realized something that changed everything. This wasn't about the money. This wasn't about the vacation. This was about 15 years of being treated like a bank account instead of a family member. 15 years of being expected to give and give and give while receiving nothing but excuses and manipulation in return. I thought about all the times I'd worked extra shifts to afford these family trips. All the times I'd gone without buying things I wanted so I could pay for shared experiences with people I loved. All the times I'd convinced myself that being generous with family was the right thing to do. Even when that generosity was taken for granted and never reciprocated. My family was at a luxury cabin I paid for, probably sitting around a fireplace I funded, drinking wine I purchased, making memories I wasn't allowed to be part of. And tomorrow morning, they'd wake up expecting to enjoy 7 more days of vacation on my dime while posting social media content about how grateful they were for family. Family that apparently didn't include me. I looked at that cancellation link one more time. My finger hovered over the mouse button, and for the first time in 3 years of being the family ATM, I started thinking about what would happen if the money stopped flowing. That cancellation link kept staring at me from my laptop screen as I sat there in my empty house on Christmas night. But before I did anything I might regret, I needed to understand exactly what I was dealing with. I needed proof that this wasn't just a misunderstanding or a series of unfortunate coincidences. I needed to document everything. I opened a new spreadsheet and started entering data. 3 years of family trips, and I had kept meticulous records because that's what you do when you're an event coordinator. You track expenses, you save receipts, you document everything. The beach house in 2022, $12,000. The ski lodge in 2023, $18,000. This Christmas cabin, $15,500. Total, $45,500 of my money spent on family vacations that I barely got to attend. But it wasn't just the big trips. I started digging deeper into my bank statements and Venmo history. Birthday dinners where I somehow always ended up paying the check. Graduation parties where I covered the catering costs. Emergency car repairs for siblings who promised to pay me back next month and then conveniently forgot. Family members who would Venmo request me for their share of group gifts, but never Venmo me back when I covered their expenses. The patterns were undeniable. Over 3 years, I had become the family bank. Not the family member, the bank. They came to me when they needed money. They expected me to handle all the logistics and payments for group activities, and they took my generosity completely for granted. But when it came time for the actual family bonding, the memory-making, the fun parts, I was somehow always too busy or too work-focused or just inconveniently absent. I screenshot every Venmo request I'd sent that got ignored. Every text message where I asked about being reimbursed and got responses like, "You know money isn't tight for you like it is for us," or You don't have kids to support? You can afford it. Every promise to pay me back that turned into guilt trips about how successful I was compared to the rest of the family. The most damning evidence was in my text message history with my mom. I searched for reimburse and found dozens of conversations where I'd politely asked about being paid back for family expenses. Her responses followed the same pattern every time. First, she'd acknowledge that yes, they owed me money. Then she'd mention how tight finances were for everyone else. Then she'd point out how much money I made compared to my siblings. Finally, she'd make me feel guilty for even asking, usually with something like, "I raised you to be generous, not petty about money." I had been trained to feel bad about expecting basic reciprocity from my own family. But the smoking gun was the group chat itself. I scrolled back to the very beginning, to when it was created on December 22nd, 3 days ago. The first message was from my mom. "Okay, everyone, here's the chat for coordinating the Christmas cabin trip. So excited!" The second message made my stomach drop. It was from my sister Lisa. "Did everyone confirm they can get the time off? I know Sarah's always working during holidays." And my mom's response, "Don't worry about Sarah. She'll handle the booking like always, but she probably won't want to come anyway. You know how she is about work." They had planned this entire trip knowing I wouldn't be included. They had discussed my absence before they even finalized the dates. They had counted on me to pay for it while assuming I'd be too busy to attend. It wasn't an oversight or a miscommunication. It was a deliberate decision to use my money and exclude my presence. I kept scrolling through the group chat messages, and each one felt like a knife twist. My brother Mike had written, "Sarah's booking skills are clutch, but honestly, it's more relaxing when it's just the core family." My Aunt Karen had responded, "I love Sarah, but she does tend to turn everything into a work project. It'll be nice to just chill." They weren't just excluding me, they were relieved to exclude me. They saw me as someone who brought stress and work energy to family gatherings, rather than recognizing that I brought organization and financial support that made these gatherings possible in the first place. The final piece of evidence came from my cousin Jenny. Around 11:30 p.m. she called me back, and I could tell she was somewhere private because the background noise from the family gathering was gone. "Sarah," she said quietly, "I need to tell you something, and I feel terrible about it." "What, Jenny?" We had a family meeting at Thanksgiving when you were in the kitchen helping Mom with dishes. They talked about the Christmas trip and..." She paused. "They talked about how to plan it without making you feel obligated to come." My heart was pounding. What exactly did they say? "Your mom said that you always seem stressed during family trips because you're handling all the logistics and payments. She said maybe it would be better to plan something smaller, just the immediate family, so you wouldn't feel pressured to coordinate everything." That sounded almost reasonable, except for one crucial detail. "Jenny, did anyone suggest that maybe they could handle the logistics themselves, or that they could pay for their own trip?" Silence. "Jenny, your dad said..." She took a deep breath. "Your dad said that you'd probably book something for yourself anyway, since you like fancy places and you can afford it. And your Uncle Dave said it would actually be perfect because you could book the place. But then you wouldn't have to stress about managing everyone during the actual trip." There it was. They had planned to use my money and exclude my presence. And they had convinced themselves that they were doing me a favor. They had turned my financial abuse into an act of kindness. "Did anyone object to this plan?" I asked. Another pause. "I wanted to, but honestly, Sarah, your family can be pretty intimidating when they've made up their minds about something, and they made it sound like they were protecting you from stress." After I hung up with Jenny, I sat there processing what I'd learned. My family had held a secret meeting about me. They had decided that my money was welcome, but my presence was not. They had convinced themselves that excluding me was actually generous and thoughtful, and none of them had bothered to ask me what I wanted. I called the cabin rental company's 24-hour customer service line. It was almost midnight on Christmas, but luxury rental companies understand that emergencies happen during holidays. "Hi, this is Sarah Martinez, and I have a booking that I need to inquire about canceling. Confirmation number 789543. The customer service representative was surprisingly helpful. She explained that since the booking was in my name and my credit card was on file, I had full authority to modify or cancel the reservation. The cancellation policy stated that I could cancel up to 24 hours after the scheduled check-in time, which meant I had until 3 p.m. on December 26th. What would be the financial impact if I canceled now? I asked. You'd forfeit the deposit, which is 30% of the total booking fee. That would be $4,650. The remaining amount of $11,850 would be refunded to your credit card within 3 to 5 business days. I did the math. I'd lose about $4,600, but I'd get back almost $12,000. More importantly, my family would lose their luxury vacation accommodation with less than 12 hours notice during peak holiday season, when every decent hotel within 100 miles would be completely booked. If I canceled the booking, what would happen to the current guests? They would need to vacate the property by noon tomorrow. We'd provide a list of alternative accommodations in the area, but I have to warn you that availability is extremely limited during Christmas week. I thanked her and hung up. Then I opened my laptop and clicked on the cancellation link. The cancellation form asked for a reason. I selected Change in Travel Plans and typed in the comment box. The person who booked this trip is no longer attending, and the other guests were not authorized to use this reservation. My finger hovered over the Confirm Cancellation button. This wasn't just about the money anymore. This was about 3 years of being treated like a bank account instead of a family member. This was about being excluded from my own vacation while being expected to pay for everyone else's good time. This was about being gaslit into thinking I was selfish for wanting basic respect and inclusion from my own family. I thought about my mom's Facebook post from earlier that evening, a picture of 17 family members gathered around the dining table I paid for with the caption, "Grateful for family and the blessings that bring us together." 800 likes from extended family and friends who had no idea that the person who made this gathering possible wasn't even invited to attend. I clicked Confirm Cancellation. The confirmation email arrived instantly. Your booking number 7889543 has been successfully canceled. Refund of $11,850 will be processed within 3 to 5 business days. The property manager has been notified of the cancellation. 15 minutes later, my phone started ringing. The first call was from an unknown number with the local area code of the mountain town where the cabin was located. I let it go to voicemail. The voicemail was from the property manager. Ms. Martinez, this is David from Mountain Peak Luxury Rentals. I'm calling because we've received notice that your booking has been canceled, but we currently have guests at the property who seem to be unaware of the cancellation. Could you please call me back to clarify the situation? The second call was from my mom. I declined it. The third call was from my dad. Declined. Mike called. Declined. Lisa called. Declined. Uncle Dave called, which surprised me because Uncle Dave never called anyone about anything unless money was involved. By 11:45 p.m., I had 14 missed calls from various family members. The group chat was exploding with confused messages. Did anyone else get a call from the cabin people? They're saying we need to leave by noon tomorrow? There must be some mistake. Sarah, are you seeing these messages? At midnight, my mom called again. This time, I answered. Sarah, what the hell is going on? The cabin people are saying our reservation is canceled? Hi, Mom. Merry Christmas to you, too. Don't get smart with me. Did you cancel our reservation? I took a deep breath. I canceled my reservation. The reservation I booked with my credit card for a family vacation I wasn't invited to attend. What are you talking about? We invited you. We added you to the group chat. You added me to the group chat after 3 days of planning a trip without me. You invited me as an afterthought to a vacation I paid for. Sarah, you're being ridiculous. You know we just assumed you'd be working. I took vacation time specifically for this trip. I told everyone at Thanksgiving that I'd blocked out these dates. You knew I was available. There was silence on the other end. Then, well, you can't just cancel the reservation now. Everyone is here. The kids are asleep. It's Christmas. Actually, I can cancel it. It's my name on the booking, my credit card on file, and according to the rental company, I have full authority to modify or cancel the reservation. Sarah, this is crazy. Just call them back and fix this. Fix what exactly? The fact that you planned a family vacation without including family? The fact that you expected me to pay $15,000 for a trip you deliberately excluded me from? We didn't exclude you. You're always so busy. Stop. Just stop. I was surprised by how calm my voice sounded. I have the group chat messages, Mom. I can see that this trip was planned 3 days ago, and everyone knew I wasn't invited. I can see Dad saying that I'd book something anyway, and Uncle Dave talking about how perfect it would be because I could pay for the place but wouldn't be there to stress about managing everyone. Long silence. Jenny told you. Jenny told me the truth. Something nobody else in this family seems capable of doing. My mom's voice changed. It became the tone she used when she was about to make me feel guilty for standing up for myself. Sarah, honey, you're hurting a lot of people right now. There are kids here who were looking forward to this vacation. Your nephews and nieces are going to be devastated. The same nephews and nieces who were perfectly happy to enjoy a vacation I paid for without me there? The same kids who haven't seen their Aunt Sarah at a family gathering in 2 years because I'm always somehow too busy or have work emergencies right before trips I've already paid for? That's not... It's exactly what happened, Mom. And you know what? If this vacation was really about family and spending time together, you would have called me 3 weeks ago when you started planning it. You would have made sure I could attend before booking anything. Instead, you planned a trip without me and expected me to pay for it anyway. The background noise on her end had changed. I could hear multiple voices, people talking over each other. My dad was saying something about lawyers. Uncle Dave was complaining about money. Lisa was crying. "Sarah," my mom said, "what do you want? What's it going to take to fix this?" For the first time in years, I knew exactly what I wanted. I want you to understand that I'm not your family bank account. I'm not the person you call when you need money but exclude when you want to have fun. I'm not the sibling who's too busy to attend family events but never too busy to pay for them. Of course you're not. Yes, I am. That's exactly how you've treated me for 3 years. And I'm done. I hung up the phone and turned it off. The silence in my empty house felt different now. It didn't feel lonely anymore. It felt peaceful. At 6:30 a.m. on December 26th, I turned my phone back on. 103 missed calls. The group chat had 247 unread messages. My voicemail was full. My email had 47 new messages from various family members, ranging from angry demands that I fix the situation to guilt trips about ruining Christmas for children to threats about legal action. But the most interesting message was from the cabin rental company, confirming that the property had been vacated at 11:45 a.m. the previous day and that no damage had been done to the property. My family had packed up and left without destroying anything, which honestly surprised me. I ignored all the missed calls and angry messages. Instead, I opened a new browser tab and started looking at vacation packages for one person. Beach resorts in Hawaii, ski lodges in Colorado, wine country tours in California. All the places I'd always wanted to visit but never got to because I was too busy coordinating and paying for family trips I didn't get to enjoy. I booked a week in Maui for New Year's, using the $11,850 I'd gotten back from the cabin cancellation. A beachfront suite, spa treatments, private dining experiences, and absolutely no shared expenses with anyone who took my generosity for granted. My phone rang again. This time it was Jenny. "Sarah, are you okay?" "I'm perfect." "The family they're really upset." "I imagine they are. It's probably the first time in years they've had to deal with the consequences of their own decisions." "Your mom wants to know if you'll consider family therapy." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Jenny, my family just spent 3 years treating me like an ATM and then acted shocked when I closed the account. The problem isn't that we need therapy. The problem is that they need to learn how to take responsibility for their own lives and their own expenses." "But what about future family events?" "What about them?" "Are you just done with all of us?" I thought about that question. I'm done being the family bank account. I'm done paying for events I'm not welcome to attend. I'm done being made to feel guilty for expecting basic respect and inclusion from my own family. If future family events involve people who actually want me there and who are willing to pay their own way, then we can talk. That afternoon, I went shopping. I bought myself a beautiful dress for New Year's Eve in Hawaii. I bought a new suitcase. I bought a bottle of champagne to celebrate my new boundaries. And when I got home, I found an envelope that had been slipped under my door. It was from my Uncle Dave. Inside was a handwritten note. Sarah, I know you're upset, but canceling the cabin was really unfair to everyone else. The kids are heartbroken, and your parents are devastated. I think you should pay to put everyone up in a hotel for the rest of the week. It's the right thing to do. Here's a list of hotels in the area and their rates. I stared at that note for a long time. Even after everything that had happened, even after being exposed for planning my exclusion while expecting my financial support, Uncle Dave still thought I owed the family money. He still thought my bank account was community property. I took a picture of the note and posted it on my private Instagram story with the caption, "When you realize some people will never understand boundaries." Then I threw the note in the trash. My phone buzzed with a Venmo request. Uncle Dave was requesting $500 for Christmas cabin emergency fund. I clicked on the request and selected decline. In the comment box, I typed, "Account closed. Try booking your own vacation." Then I changed my Venmo settings to require approval for all future requests. I updated my Facebook status to living my best life and included a picture of my new Hawaiian vacation confirmation. Within an hour, 3 family members had commented asking if I was going through something and suggesting I call if I needed to talk about my feelings. Because, of course, in their minds, the only possible explanation for my behavior was that I was having some kind of breakdown. It couldn't possibly be that I was a rational adult who had gotten tired of being financially exploited by my own family. I spent December 26th creating a new budget for myself. For the first time in 3 years, I wasn't setting aside money for family trip deposits or emergency loans to siblings or surprise expenses for family events I'd somehow end up covering. The amount of money I had available for my own life was shocking. I had been living like I was supporting 17 people instead of 1. That evening, I got a text from my sister Lisa. "Sarah, I'm sorry about the planning thing, but you have to understand that Mom was just trying to reduce your stress. She thought you'd be happier not having to manage everything for once." I stared at that text for a long time. Then I replied, "Lisa, if Mom wanted to reduce my stress, she could have planned and paid for her own family vacation instead of expecting me to handle both the logistics and the bill while excluding me from the fun. There's a word for taking someone's money without giving them what they paid for. It's called fraud." Lisa never responded to that text. On December 27th, I went to the bank and opened a new savings account called Sarah's Adventures Only. I transferred the money from my canceled cabin refund into that account, along with the money I would have spent on family trip expenses over the next year. Watching that balance grow felt better than any family vacation I'd ever funded. I changed my phone number and gave the new number only to people who had never asked me to pay for their good time. The list was surprisingly short, but the quality of relationships was so much higher. On December 31st, I boarded a plane to Maui with 1 carry-on bag and 0 obligations to anyone except myself. As I sat in my first-class seat, paid for with money that used to go to family vacations I wasn't allowed to enjoy, I realized something important. For the first time in years, I was going on a vacation where I was actually wanted. By myself. The best part? When I posted photos from Hawaii, genuinely happy and relaxed for the first time in years, I didn't get a single comment asking why I wasn't with family. I didn't get any messages asking me to pay for anything. I didn't get any guilt trips about being selfish or antisocial. I just got likes from friends who were happy to see me happy, people who valued my presence, not just my credit card. And when I came home from Hawaii, refreshed and proud of my new boundaries, I found 17 missed calls from family members asking if I wanted to help plan Easter dinner. I deleted every single voicemail without listening to them. Some people never learn, but I finally had.